this would be the second part then of my TopGuns. I think that I may not show all of them. We have plenty of time coming throughout the summer. But as I'm moving them, here's another one that I would like to just show, because I do have Sunya Green, as we saw in part 1, and it is a named variety called Mailman. And this is Sunya Green with no name. So I got it because I thought, well, look at the size of the plant. It was absolutely a bargain. It was on sale, so to speak, and I was wondering what would the difference be between a Sunya Green or a named variety of Mailman. So this one came from Orchid Garden in Poland. It's a big orchid. And you can see that I buried the rhizome in the back. This is one example of what I did when I thought, okay, dry top layer, get the roots down into the media without desiccation. And it worked as well. So there has been no rotting, no dieback. All the new growths came out impeccably. This one is a little bit wonky because of the way I had it grown. I misjudged the light. But other than that, it is now starting to swell up at the base. And there's an eye as well. And with that swelling, the roots began. So there might be an eye there as well. It's swelling up. It's just a question whether it will go further than just a tease. There's a little thing happening in the back there as well. So we'll see. It hasn't bloomed for me. So it'd be interesting if this summer or if this fall I will get bloom from both Mailman and this one, and then see what the difference is, if there is any. And I was also thinking in the future to cut the rhizome on this one, because it is quite big. You can see that from the nursery in the back. There are some pseudobulbs that have just been brutally chopped off to hide whatever was going on with the leaves. It'll be interesting to see how this one develops. And hopefully it blooms. And here's Cattleya Sagarik Wax, African Beauty. I have not had this one bloom for me. The latest growth from last summer is this one right here. And it came out with a sheath, but nothing happened beyond that. I bought this because of the name. If you saw my orchid tag video, you know my ritual would be buying orchids based on names. So African Beauty, I'm originally from Kenya. It was a no-brainer. And it is now starting a new growth. So that is great news. And let's hope for some blooms this time. Got to be careful with the bifoliates. They're not usually so good with direct hot sun, but its position on the shelf is basically behind the white shower curtain that I have, and there's no angle where any sun hits it. So yeah, looking forward to seeing this one bloom. It would be a pleasure. Rotada Fu Shu Glory, named variety Happy Holiday. I bought this because when I saw the name Happy Holiday, a vacation of my children and I off to Disney, Universal, New Year's, the best holiday I've ever had with them. It was just awesome. 3 weeks. The only rule we had during that vacation was no was not an option. And everything was just awesome. It was the new year of 2000 and we spent it at Universal Studio. It was fantastic. So when I saw this one, I saw Happy Holiday, that vacation sprung to mind, and I had to have it. Besides, it's supposed to have some beautiful, beautiful blooms as well. So it hasn't bloomed for me. It is sometimes a single leaf, sometimes a bifoliate. So we'll see what it comes up with next. Here you can see that I recognized too late. I was giving it far too much sun. And I am now going to do a little guesswork. It's going to go in my hottest area. And I'm going to see if that will trigger the blooms. After I saw the burns last year, I took it away and put it more shady and it didn't bloom. So now with the new growth coming, when it comes, it'll be easily acclimatized. That's the plan anyway. So I'm going to keep a keen eye out on this one. There's a little swelling down here. A little nubbin sort of starting to separate itself. But in the meantime, it has just started to branch out the roots. So it's a good sign something is on the move. And it's possible that a new growth will follow soon. So I'll keep an eye on that little bulge there. So let's see if Happy Holiday can live up to its name and bloom, and see why it's called Happy. Cattleya Siamese doll Kiwi. Look at it, 2 new growths. Yay, that makes me happy. It's a bifoliate as well, and it bloomed for me last year. The bloom didn't last very long. It blasted one, so I only got to see it for real with one single bloom. It didn't last not even 2 weeks to my understanding. It's got a very, very subtle fragrance, nothing to write home about, but because of the freckles, etc., and it opens green with these freckles and then fades to a yellowy kind with freckles. It's very, very pretty. So I've got this now with 2 new growths, and I'm well pleased with it. That'd be great. And let's see if it's just the first blooming for me that made it only last so short a period of time. But 2? That's awesome. And this chubby looking thing, which I love, is a Schomburgkia thomsoniana. It was quite small when I got it, definitely not blooming size, even though it looked big at the time. So these were the bulbs that I got it with, pretty much. And then last year, summer, it put out this bulb right here. It's huge, I love it. And then during the winter, it continued to put out this growth. It's just maturing now, hence no sheath pulling just yet. Not ready to take that off yet. And then back here, during the winter, it decided to take off again with 2 little ones. This one and this one in the back there. So all in all, I mean, I may need to repot this year. I'm going to see what it does where it shoots out next, because this one does develop the new roots straight off the bat when new growths come. So just have to be watchful, keep an eye on it. I got this from Thai Orchids and More from eBay. Just waiting for the blooms now. I may need to wait 2 more years or something like that, but this one, I love it just because of the way those pseudoballs just get enormous. It's like you just want to bite into them, they look so good. But we'll see about the blooms coming up. First of all, is it going to go into rest now when it's growing season? Has it not acclimatized? I don't know. One to watch out for. There's looks like a new root coming in the corner over there. We'll see what happens with the new growth, and then I'll make a decision whether it needs to be repotted. And this is a little favorite of mine as well, a bifoliate, Cattleya Little Fairy. It's so cute. It blooms with like big clusters of yellow, bright yellow blooms, and each lip has like a splotch of red on it. It's just the cutest thing ever. Very, very fragrant, and I love the. When I say extremely, I love the hint of that fragrance. As far as I'm concerned, it's not invasive or offensive or too much. And the blooms last about 4 to 5 weeks, which is quite long, I would say. I love this. It's just finished blooming maybe a month ago on this new growth right here. So I'm gonna leave it. Right now the reservoir only has RO water and seaweed in it because there's a lot of nothing going on in there. A lot of nothing. It can stay in its pot for one more growth, I'm certain of that. Look at the rhizome, it's not too far spread apart. But I'm wondering about the roots inside there. And I'll be watching this one closely, whether it's gonna need a repot or not, regardless of the fact the pot and the size is quite alright. But we'll see. Cattleya, little fairy. A cutie. So moving on to Epicattleya, Rene Marquez crossed with Brassavola, digbyana. So it's got my favorite cross in it, the digbyana. When this one tried to bloom, I'm not sure whether I'm confusing the two, but there's two that are very similar and the blooms were distorted. In my editing I will correct whatever I may be saying right now, and if it doesn't match up I'll make a point and a reference of that. But I like the fact that these spikes extend, so all I do is cut off the previous blooms and not the whole stem of the spike to the back, because it's blooming out of the same apex again. And that's awesome. Now if this is the one that previously was deformed, then I'll make sure I'll put that picture up. And it would be a shame because I did want this cross very, very badly. And I bought it from Sophrolaeliocattleya. So we'll see what this spike does. But up next is the next one, and I can probably clarify any discrepancies I was just now getting muddled up. So that would be hopefully a successful blooming of the Rene Marquez crossed with Brassavola digbyana. Right, so here is another Rene Marquez cross. The tag is stuck in the pot, which is a good thing because that means there's lots of roots in there. But I'll put up a pop-up for the full name. I never managed to acquire a Rene Marquez that was healthy. So when I placed this order with Schwerter, they had these crosses, and much like with my digbyanas, I do enjoy the Rene Marquez color combo. So this is another cross that I got, and it's bloomed very nicely, no distortions for me. And I have another spike coming, which is looking promising. These spikes take forever to develop. And last year I had one bud blast. So let's hope that all these will make it. This is a rare plant with regards to the Schwerter order, because I have not had any deformities, I have not had any problem growing it. It came in relative good health. So I'll just be fair about it and say that 1 out of 40 isn't bad, is it? I don't know how big my order was back then, but it was a big one. So yeah, this is a Rene Marquez cross and ready to flower. What is this? Actually, it's one of my favorites. It's a Coilostylis ciliaris. Beautiful, beautiful, dainty, luscious, frilly looking little blooms that look like birds in flight, but from above. I'll put up a picture. It bloomed last year as well. It was just so amazing. Also very fragrant. I thoroughly enjoy them, but this one's got a stowaway in it. It's a fern. I don't know who invited him in, but he's here to stay. He's not taking up any space. I've got other companion plants in my other orchids that are definitely a little bit more unruly. I'll show them one day. But this one I think is quite a fancy little addition. Makes a nice backdrop to the flowers when they start to come out. And it's absolutely going nuts in its pot as well. What a grower this is. Amazing. It's only in lava rock, but in a semi-hydro setup. So, I mean, look, I've got 1, 2, and here 3, 4 out of the same growth from last year. And then in here I've got 5, 6, 7. And then up here, suspended in midair, 8. I mean, that's amazing. I love this thing. So the roots here actually come out after the growth has bloomed. And that is always bang in the middle of summer for me. So I've not repotted this one. I think I might get away with this year because all the growths are inside the pot. But I'm not sure because I have never had them this high off the media before. So I'm very, very, very nervous about repotting this one into, which I would like, my leca setup. Especially bang in the middle of summer. I don't know what I'm going to do. I've also got the option. There's another little one down there. I've also got the option to actually get a bigger pot and just set it into a bigger pot and then fill that with lava rock so that any new roots for the following year could go into the lava rock. That's going to make it one heavy, heavy pot, so I have to bear that in mind as well. But yeah, Coilostylis ciliaris, one of my perfect little blooms that I enjoy the pristine white daintiness of. So cute. They remind me of little, what you would consider if fairies were to have transportation instead of flying with their own wings. That's what they would be using, these blooms. Absolutely love it. So with my Coilostylis, I'm going to wrap this one up. Regarding my TopGuns and hot growers, I do apologize for the background traffic noise. I hope that the Spanish people aren't getting too familiar with the lockdown and thinking, yeah, no, nothing's going on. We are definitely not out of the woods. This is still the first week of April when I'm filming this, and it is not a good time to become complacent. So I've heard a lot more cars today than I've heard in the past weeks on a Monday. I'm not sure I'm liking what I'm hearing, to be honest, but okay. Who am I to say anything except voice my concern? So I hope everybody else is staying safe, enjoying their plants, enjoying time with the family. This is hard for some. It can get hard for others, more down the future. We don't know where we're going. These are uncharted waters, but I do hope and really, really lift everybody up that's having to deal with any of the tragedies that we're hearing, so numerous around the world. So you are in my thoughts, and I hope that this video was a little bit of a distraction. And I thank you very much for taking the time out to watch it. As always, take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time. Bye.